Recording.
لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ثم ما بعد إن خير الكلام كلام الله سبحانه وتعالى وخير هدى هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها إن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار وبعد. We continue with the famous book من بلوغ المرام وهو Jaami and Al-Imam Al-Hafiz Ibn Hajar Al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala wa nasallahu subhanahu wa ta'ala and yanfa'ana bih. We ask Allah to make it beneficial for us. Ameen. We're still with the first hadith in Kitab Al-Adab, the book of manners. The hadith of Abi Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu akhrajahu fi Bukhari wa Muslim. And we took the first part, إِذَا لَقِيتُهُ فَسَلَّمْ alayhi. When you greet him, when you meet him, when you meet or encounter your Muslim brother, then give him the salam. And then we arrived at وَإِذَا دَعَكَ فَعَجِبَ. وَإِذَا دَعَكَ فَعَجِبَ. فَعَجِبَهُ, inam, to answer the invitation. We mentioned last time that somebody starting? Stop?
That's your phone.
Really?
You check it?
Yes.
85%.
The signal dropped. That's what happened. That's for YouTube. We mentioned that the ulama of Islam, they set a principle whenever something is sought from you. If Allah seeks something from you or the messenger, then the general rule is that it is a obligation. Al-amru, the command, yaqtadi biwujubi. It means it constitutes that you have to do it. So all of these things the Prophet ﷺ mentioned from these six, they're in the command form, in the language context of what's being said. So it appears from the wording of the Prophet itself that these are things you have to do. So this is where it has been mentioned that it is the right of the Muslim, meaning you have to give it to the Muslim. Therefore, this statement of the Prophet ﷺ, وَإِذَا دَعَكَ فَأَجِبَهُ, many of the scholars have used it in a general sense because this is the general statement. And Shaykh Abdul Muhsin from the Prophet's Masjid, one of the older scholars today of Hadith, he mentioned this means in language if that person calls you, invites you, ila baytihi aw manzilatihi fa'ajibahu. Naam, fa'ajibahu. Answer that call, meaning accept the invitation. If he invites you to his house or his place of dwelling. And this invitation, many of the scholars, this Imam An-Nawawi, when he was commenting on this hadith, Imam An-Nawawi, in his explanation of Sahih Muslim, which Allah blessed us to study that whole series in Yemen over the years, he said that it is recommended. It is recommended to answer the invitation. However, again, many of the scholars, based on the literal wording, they said, and it is an obligation. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he mentioned this, he was talking about al-irs. Al-irs, yani walima, the marriage ceremony, the feast when a person gets married. So although this is a general statement, true indeed, and as Imam Nawawi said, it could apply to a recommendation in general when it comes to walima, when it comes to the wedding ceremony, the feast. Then to begin with, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Yulim walau bishah." He said, have a wedding ceremony when you get married. Yulim means, in layman terms, make sure you get married, have a walima, have a celebration. He said, even if it be with one sheep. Why did he say that? Because the Arabs had a custom of slaughtering many sheep, camel. So even if a person, the Prophet was saying in a customary way, even if it be one sheep, don't let it prevent you. And we know that there are some hadith with the Prophet when he got married. One time he had barley, another time he had something else, which is less than the sheep. So walima is the obligation. Walima is the obligation. So there's no way you're going to have a walima except you have to invite somebody. And that's why the scholars of Islam, they mention that this actual hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, "Ida da'aka fa'ajibahu," he was talking about walima. If he invites you, then you come to the walima. So this is one of the ways you can determine if something is general or specific. The Prophet ﷺ said, if he invites you, answer. Is that general or that's specific? That's specific? If he invites you. But he didn't say to what? He just said if he invites you. So is that general or that's specific? It's general. Give me an example of something that will be specific. Okay, so let's put that in a sentence structure. If Ahmed invites you to dinner, إذا دعك أحمد إلى بيته لعشاء فأجبه. If Ahmed invites you to his house for dinner, for supper, then answer him. But the Prophet didn't say that. He said إذا دعك, if he invites you. So therefore, if there's a specific text where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that thing outside of a general statement, then we know that the origin of his statement could have been in reference to that general statement. And so that's why they said walima is the obligation. If someone invites you to walima, you have to go. And it doesn't make a difference whether somebody said different. We know that if someone invites you to walima, and there's some conditions, we'll mention those conditions inshallah in a few, that you have to go. As for as other invitations, then based on this hadith, the way the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا دَعَكَ, da'aka is a command form. The Prophet said, فَعَجِبَ. فَعَجِبَ is commanding you. The Prophet said, فَعَجِبَ. That fa here, if he tells you something, فَلْيَشْجُدْ, then prostrate. فَلْيَرْكَعْ, then make the bowing, ruku'. فَلْيَقُولْ, then let him say. All of these are command form with the fa and the lam. Lam amr in the Arabic language. فَعَجِبَهُ, the Prophet is commanding you to do what? Answer. When? إِذَا دَعَكَ, if somebody, when somebody invites you. So one of them is a conditional phrase, idha. It starts conditional phrase. And the command normally comes, the answer to the condition, you have to do this. So the Prophet said, idha da'aka, if someone invites you, fa'ajibahu, then you must go and answer that invitation. That's general. But what the Prophet was referring to is walima. And this is in the hadith with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Sharru ta'ami ta'amu walimati." The worst food, the most evil of food and its types is the food of a walima. Write this down. Prophet sallam, he said, "Sharru ta'ami ta'amu walimati." The worst food, the most evil type of food that a person can have, that a person can eat, that a person can serve, is the food that's served at a walima. Yuda'a ilayhi man yatba. The person will be invited to such a walima, and there will be three categories of people. Man yatba, the person says, I'm not coming. The first one, the one who refuses to answer that walima. وَإِنَّمَا لَهَا مَنْ يَأْتِي وَمَنْ لَمْ يَأْتِي. And then you have the one that's going to go and the one who's not going to go. The one who says he refuses. So the first one, the person, he actually says, I'm not going. Yatba, he refuses. He doesn't accept. And then you have the one who's going to go and the one he may not make it. فَمَنْ لَمْ يُجِبَهُ. So whosoever does not answer that invitation, فَقَدْ عَصَى اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Then indeed he has disobeyed Allah and his messenger. Whosoever has not answered that invitation, indeed he has disobeyed Allah and his messenger. So this hadith, which is sahih, the ulama, they used to say the walima was the reason the Prophet said, وَإِذَا دَعَكَ فَأَجِبَهُ. If you are invited, then show up, answer, go. But he said that in a general way, talking though about walima. As the second hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, we mentioned the worst food, the most evil type of food is the food that's served at the walima and you refuse. Or that person at a walima, he may make it. Or the other person, he may not make it. And that's the reality. One who refuses, I'm not going. I'm not, Another one, he makes it, he shows up. And the one, he didn't make it. The one he didn't make it, he got delayed. Something happened, he got sick. It was a hardship on him, he wanted to go, etc. The first person, straight out, he refused. And then the Prophet said, فَمَنْ لَمْ يُجِبَهُ فَقَدَ عَصَى اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ وَسَلَّمَ. Then that person who refuses, meaning he has the ability, meaning it's not a difficulty, meaning he or she is not going to lose out or miss out on something that's an obligation to answer that invitation. Whosoever has the ability and he answers, alhamdulillah, he has fulfilled the right of the Muslim to the Muslim. Whosoever refuses, then he has disobeyed Allah and his messenger. So this hadith is the explanation to the general hadith. The general hadith, and when you are invited, then answer. And the explanation to that hadith, which makes it specific And how you know the Prophet is talking about walima, and the walima, you have to go because the Prophet stated it when he mentioned the most evil food that can be served is the food of the walima. And that person, yani, refuses to go, or a person shows up and another does not make it, whosoever does not answer, this is the punchline. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِبَ, whoever does not answer, he has the ability, then this shows it's a sin because he said, فَقَدَ عَصَى اللَّهِ, he has disobeyed Allah or Rasulah. So that means it's an obligation. Anytime something is an obligation on you, then that means you have to do it. And that's why they said the walima is an obligation. Every other type of invitation, highly recommended. But walima, you have to go if you have the ability. And there's some conditions to the issue of walima. Now, any questions?
You said that there's a more evil type of food.
Yeah. Prophet is making, showing you where the barakat lies. If you have a walima and someone refuses, then the Prophet described that as the most evil type of food, meaning you refused the obligation of Allah and His Messenger, which had barakat in it. So you and yourself refusing, you lose the barakat. So he described the evilest food, the food at the walima, meaning of the one who refuses. So for you, you turned something that was a barakat into something evil. But the way that he spoke, this is what's called balagha. It has a rich meaning to it. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Fatiha said, Iyaka na'abudu wa iyaka nasta'een. But in Arabic, normally you will say, La na'budu illa iyaka. We don't worship anybody but you. But Allah revealed it in a poetic form to show in no form of fashion, in no type of way that's considered worship, should we give that to anybody other than Allah. That's why Al-Fatiha, the ayat is not La na'budu illa iyaka, rather it's iyaka. You alone we worship, when the negation should have came first. Just like La ilaha illallah, the negation comes first in this type of sentence. But the issue of what's called balagha, where something is emphasized and it's mentioned in a particular way to bring about a intrinsic and a very powerful poetic meaning, then this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een, rather than la na'budu illa iyaka. So likewise here the Prophet is saying Sharul ta'ami ta'amu walimati. But he's not saying merely the food at the walima. He's talking about the evil sin of the one who rejects the blessed food at that walima. You will be charged on the day of judgment for the issue of evil food, just for not going to a walima that you were invited to. Showing the blessing of the walima has been taken for granted. So the Prophet described it as evil food to encourage the people, leave that sin off. If you have a walima and you are invited and you can go, go. Don't let it be a racial issue. Don't let it be a tribal issue. Don't let it be, how can I go eat with them and they poor and I'm rich? Lie. By that way, you make it shawul ta'am, an evil type of food, because you're making the food for this one and that one and this reason, when the food is for walima. Walima. To come together for the cause of celebrating the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet he said, yulim, yani make sure you have a walima, walau bishah, even if it be by one sheep rather than many sheep and she camels. So that means you got to go. Now, there are some conditions when you talk about the issue of answering the invitation. And we said again, many ulama, they use the general hadith, إِذَا دَعَكَ فَعَجِبَهُ, if you're invited, answer, to say that you can include any invitation based on the wording that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, but there are some conditions to that. And then others say that the invitations outside of a walima are highly recommended, but walima is an obligation. Whether you take the position that all other invitations outside of walima are recommended and walima is the only one that's an obligation, or you lump every invitation in one category, if you're invited you must go, there are some conditions that are very important. Very, very important. The first condition is that this is talking about Muslim invitation. Condition number one, Muslim invitation. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ started the hadith off by saying, Haqq al-Muslim ala Muslim sit. The rights of the Muslim upon the other Muslims is 6. So this makes this an issue that is restricted to the Muslims in that regard of giving the right. Because he's talking about the Muslim. He didn't say Haqq al-Nas ala Nas, the rights of the people on other people. La, he's talking about the Muslims. So many scholars said this is the first condition to answering the invitation. Has to be the invitation of the Muslim. Any other invitation, you can do it or not do it. You can do it or not do it. But the haqq, the right of the Muslim, you got to go. That's the first thing. The second condition, they said, that it must be an invitation from somebody that is not considered from the people of Hajr, from the people of boycotting. And we touched on this a little bit before. People went crazy in the 90s, went retarded with the issue of boycotting. Subhana Rabbil Azim. In the name of the deen, in the name of manhaj, in the name of aqidah, in the name of following the haqq. But there are some situations, for example, if someone comes to you and they say to you, Brother Abdullah, you are invited tomorrow to a celebration. We want you to come out and bring your family. You say, okay, mashallah. And then you go. Then he says to me, Shaykh Ukkasha, tomorrow you're invited to a celebration. Bring your family. Come out. I said, what kind of celebration? He said, Mawlid Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Birthday of the Prophet. Is this from Ahl al-Hajr, people that you should avoid, or the people of Ahl al-Sunnah? People you should avoid. هكذا صحيح. أيوة. ما يكون إلا من أهل ماذا أهل أهواء والبدع. Only way we could put that in the category where this is an occasion of people that are going to be practicing bid'ah, following their desires. So this is an example. First condition, and you can Muslim. Naam, that there be Muslim there inviting you. To be an obligation. If it's other than the Muslim, then it's not binding on you to go. You can't go or not go. But the Muslim, Haqq al-Muslim al-Muslim, Sitta, 6. وَإِذَا دَعَكَ فَعَجِبَهُ. Now, and we said again, many of the scholars said this is general. Like Imam Dawood al-Dhahiri, the Dhahiriya, those who they take the literal wording of the text and they say that's what it says, that's what it means. Madhab al-Dhahiriya, Ibn Hazm and Imam Dawood al-Dhahiri. But most of the scholars, Jamhur, most of the scholars besides them, they said no, it's recommended. Everything except walima. Amma walima, for wajib. Walima you have to. Because the Prophet said, فَمَنْ لَمْ يُجِبَ فَقَدْ عَصَى. Indeed he has disobeyed Allah wa Rasulahu sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. So the first condition, then you become Muslim. To be a Muslim, to make it wajib for you to go, you must be a Muslim, yani aywa. And second, they're not from the people of bid'ah wa ahwa. And we're talking about real bid'ah wa ahwa, not homemade bid'ah wa ahwa. Some of the brothers, they have, like you have an oatmeal and cream of wheat. They think you open the pack, you pour it, stir it, khalas, you made somebody from people of ahwa, bid'ah wa ahwa. It's not like that. We're talking about real, live, nobody would disagree bid'ah. From the beginning to the end of Ahlul Sunnah. It said the third thing, the third condition, and la yakun hunaka munkaran, and la yakun hunaka munkaran. Naam, that it must not be anything there that's evil. If that's some evil, kal yani musiqa wal yani aghani, music, singing, la yajuz. Scratch that thing. Except, now after this, this is the third one, put A and B. 3A and 3B. Imam Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen and others, they said, إذا يستطيع أن يزيل منكرا فيجب عليك أن تجيب. It said, if you can change some of that evil, if you are one that has the ability, the influence, and you know that if you go you will change some of that evil, then it becomes wajib on you go. Becomes wajib on you to answer that invitation. And they use the hadith of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, Abi Sa'id. Have to write this dalil. Abi Sa'id al-Khudri. Al-Khudri. Fi Sahih Muslim. And the Sahih of Muslim. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم من يرى منكم منكرا فيغيره بيده. Whosoever from amongst you witnesses is there in the presence, he sees, she sees, you all witness an evil, فيغيره بيده. Prophet said, then you change it. I command you to change it with your hand. فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه. If you have no ability to change it with your hand without making a bigger problem, then you leave it, you change it with the tongue. فَإِلَّمْ تَسْتَطِعْ. If you don't have the ability to change it with the tongue without making a bigger problem, فَبِقَلْبِهِ. Then you change it in your heart. Meaning, don't like it in your heart, make it in your heart, you dislike it. وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. This is the least of the Muslim. This is the lowest part of the issue of faith in this regard. However, there is a principle that goes with this. Again, if there's evil there, the general rule, don't go. But, if you can change the evil, even if it be for 5-10 minutes, to give some dawah, to see everybody, al sabili mathal, you go, you say, listen, y'all know I don't listen to music. They didn't see you in 10 years. They haven't seen you since you became a young man. They didn't see you since you became a young lady and you got married and you have children. If they really want to see you, they're going to negotiate. They're going to say, okay, cut the music off. Somebody might say, cut it down. Somebody might say, no, cut it off. I'm not staying there long. I just came to see everybody. You see everybody. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. They're not singing and dancing and boogalooing. You know how people can do. You give them the haqq, give them some dawah with action and statement, and you leave. Then whatever they do after that, la alayka bi shay. Nothing is upon you. This is an example. You are able to change something. You are able to say something, a word of advice that will change some evil, make an impression on somebody. Then in that case, Imam Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala, wa ghayri, and others, they said, then you go. Because to change the evil is the obligation, as the Prophet said. Does it make a difference how much you change it, how long it's changed? If you can make a difference to remove some evil without making a bigger problem, without making things worse than they were, then you do so. If you can't, khalas, then you don't change that munkar, you leave it. As there's a story, Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah, during his lifetime, had a problem with the people there in his time, in his area, the Tatar. And although these people claimed to be Muslim and they were fusaq, very sinful, yani Allah musta'an, they were oppressive and they were people that had a lot of kufr and shirk and bid'ah. They were killing the Muslim, persecuting the Muslim, torturing the people of the Sunnah, imprisoning the people of knowledge from the Sunnah. They were making, as we say, top mashakil in the land. They will get, as we say, sloppy drunk. And in most societies, public drunkenness is a crime. It's a sin in Islam. It's a crime in the society. So once they were passing by some of these soldiers and people that were in charge, they were drunk. So as they moved by in a swift fashion, some of them asked the Shaykh, aren't we going to say something to them? Aren't we going to change this evil? Look at them. They're drunk. They're loud. They're breaking, glass in the street and doing this and that, disturbing the peace. Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah became silent. He didn't say anything. As Rasulullah said, "Man yara minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi." Whoever sees the evil, let him change it. They were trying to exercise that. But the rule of thumb is that you don't make something worse than it was before you started to change that evil. From the maqasid sharia, from the reasons that Allah sent the revelation in the first place, rules and regulations, al-masalih limujtama'a, to fix the society, rafa mashaqah, rafa yani mada mashaqah, naam, to raise difficulty from the people. So if you're going to do something that makes something worse than it already is, and we're talking about something problematic, you have been commanded by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and His Messenger, stop, be patient. How many times have we seen that with the revolts? The athar wal inqilabat, rising up and revolting in the land. Although people are oppressed, evil is taking place. People are living under some very excruciating circumstances. But it has never been a case of revolt, except that the time after the revolt is worse than the time prior. So Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah
he told them, he said, when they got to the masjid, he said, the reason I didn't say anything to them, the reason I left them, he said, because although they were doing public drunkenness, when they are sober, this is when they imprison the scholars of Ahlul Sunnah. This is when they beat the people of the Sunnah, torture the people of the Sunnah. This is when they rape the Muslim women. All of their evil is when they were sober. So which one is worse? To allow them to do that while enjoining on them sobriety at that time, or to leave them fools drunk in their state while the people are protected from their evil? Which one is the greater evil? Huh? Somebody said to drink?
No, I said let them.
Oh, let them drink. Hey, what?
Don't let them drink.
So, hey, let them drink.
They're not oppressing the people while they drunk.
That's right. They're only hurting themselves. And if there is some other, people are being annoyed, then that's less than being tortured, in jail, beating, raped, taking your property, breaking in your house. That's subhanallah. So this is something that we have to try to look at and apply in our lives, because I'm sure there are things that we encounter. We want to change, we want to fix. We have to weigh out. Is it going to be worse to deal with that after I deal with it than before, or is it going to make things better? On face value. That's the third thing. So the first one, we said they be Muslim. First condition to accept the invitation to something being an obligation. As for the non-Muslim, then you're not binded. The Muslim, especially walima, and if you generalize it, anything they invite you to of khair, of goodness, then it becomes wajib. First condition, Muslim, invite you. Second, that they are not from the people inviting you to bid'ah and desire sinful things. Cannot answer. Third, that there are nothing there that is evil. 3A, with the exception, you can change some of that evil without making a worse situation, changing that evil. Number 4, أن لا يكون كسب haram. أن لا يكون كسب haram. That what they have there of the provisions, the food and drink, can't be haram. And there's a big discussion between the ulama as it relates to this, because there are different texts again. Can't just take one hadith, two hadith, three hadith. You have to look at the whole picture. So in general, if something is an invitation and they're having haram food, for example, khamr. Somebody invites you, to a place and they have khamr. And we're talking about Muslims, because Muslims, Allah musta'an, sometimes they do this and they make excuses. They say, no, this is not khamr. This is, some holy juice. It's going to help you with your cold. My sheikh back home used to make it. It has 2%, alcohol. And liar juice. Liar juice. No lie, in this day and times, the Muslims, they drink. Just like in the time of the Prophet, the Muslims were drinking. The ayah came down to prohibit khamr. They didn't stop drinking all at once. So it could be a Muslim invite you, and wallah musta'an, it's known that person who has a drinking problem, you can't go. He has wine, somebody been to his house to help him move or fix something. And it's known, he doesn't care. Has a bar with all kind of drinks like the kuffar, la yajuz. He invite you, to his house for iftar. Kayf, ya akhi. Allah musta'an. And wallah musta'an, this has a lot of detail. So some ulama, they said if it's particular like this, something clearly haram, you can't. Others, they said, so the first, this is number 4, huh? If it's something that's clearly haram, like khamr, like for example, liquors or wines, it's not permissible. Anything that's haram. Khamr, khanazir, pork, la yajuz. Huh? Okay, barakallah fi. Put yani under number 4A. They said except like EX. You can write whatever for except. If some scholars said if most of the stuff there is halal. إذا كان غالبا يعني غالب المال halal. يعني if most of what he has there, and they use mal here to mean what's there, not just like his money. It means whatever he has there of some type of value that he's inviting you to. If that majority of it is halal, they said then you can answer. So the first one, flat out, if there's any haram, you can't what? Can't go. Example of what is clearly haram? Pork, liquor. Hey. No, that's the second point. We're on that point. We're going to go back to the first point of haram first. Okay, the second point, some ulama, they said, if most of what's there is halal, then you can go. And the hadith they use, that the Prophet ﷺ purchased from the Jews before a sheep. And again, this is if most of what they have is there, halal. Most of what they have is halal. Tayyib. Some scholars, they said you can go. And that's the A. This is the B to number 4. Then some of them said if most of what he has is haram, you can still go. وَكَسْبَ عَلَيْهِ. And the sin of that stuff that he has that's haram is on that person who invited you. They used the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where the Jews invited him. And the Jews were in Al-Madinah with the Prophet. Wasn't there with our Muslims.
Keep that one again, that last one.
The last one, if most of what he has is haram, then you can go and the sin is on the one who has those items, not on the one who answers the invitation. So you have the first one, the generality. If there's anything haram, don't go. It's general. And that's 4. Then 4A, weigh it out. If most of the things there are halal and there's less haram, then you go. Then B, A, not B, A, B what? 4, sorry. B4, if most of the thing is haram, then you can go, but the sin is on the one who has those things and purchased those things. And they use this hadith of Salam where the Jews, they invited the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. And it's known as Fadilatul Shaikh Yahya al-Jazari, he mentioned it's clear that the Jews, they were people who used to deal in what? Riba. Aywa. So imagine the Jew invite you, everything he has from his wealth is based on what? Riba. Also, they used to, yani, akal sut, yani, had all of these different, yani, sins, the Yahud. What the Prophet ﷺ, he did, he answered the invitation. He wouldn't take no gift from them. He couldn't accept sadaqah from them as a prophet. He didn't take no gifts from them. But what he did, he purchased a sheep. And that's what he ate from. So many ulama, they use that hadith to say it's based on yani ra'i, meaning what you view from the situation. What's the benefit? And if you see there's a benefit, going back to point number 3, you can change some evil. You're not out the woods, because the next thing is there any haram there? So now, what do? Number 1, if there's haram, don't go. That's number 4. 4A, weigh out how much haram. Is it a little haram, more halal? Like our supermarkets, for example. What do you think is in the Walmart? Halal versus haram. On the scale 0 to 10, what's in Walmart? Halal or haram? You're buying fitna? You're buying fitna? A'adhan billah. Okay, watch what you say. We're saying what you buying. امرأة بغية لا يجوز سواء كان في Walmart or في شارع. Purchasing dancing ladies and hookers is haram, whether they're in Walmart or in the street. You can't buy fitna, akhi, taqillah. This is the meaning when you say fitna. We're talking about women. We understand what's fitna. So you can't put that in a context. But on the scale 0 to 10, what's in Walmart? Halal, haram. On scale 0 to 10, I give it maybe a 7, halal. What do you got in the Walmart? Clothes, produce, dairy, medicine, hygiene, appliances. Can we keep going? If we just took all of the stuff that we can count, that's haram. They have beer, yani condoms, Allah musta'an, maybe they have some other stuff. Difference of opinion about the meat, food of the people of the book. Let's say somebody says, okay, all that meat is haram, hitting the head. Tayyib, you still got a whole Walmart. Air conditioners, barbecue grills, beds, toys. You get the pit, huh? Somebody say candy? Allahu Akbar. Personal things. And so the point is that we live this every day. Weighing out, going in a place that has more haram, halal, or less yani halal, more haram. Aywa. The liquor store, what does it have? On a scale 0 to 10. More haram or halal? Haram. E&J, BJ, Scotch, whiskey, gin, you name it. We from Jahiliyyah. We know all of this stuff. I hope people made tawbah. When they accepted Islam, they're not still drinking, because some Muslims still drink. Afallah anna jami'an. May Allah pardon us all. Ameen. Yashfi sudurina. Purify our hearts. وَيُثَبِّتْ أَقْدَامَنَا. Make our feet strong upon Sirat al-Mustaqim. I mean, this is real talk. But guess what? You got to wash your uniform. It's a Sunday. You use coins for the laundry machine because you don't have a manual in your house where you press the button and you wash. You got to go to the laundry room. The only place you can get some quarters is the liquor store that has more haram than halal. Do you go in there and get that? And you can't go to work with your uniform dirty. You'll get suspended. You may get fired. You already miss days. You may lose your job. Your wife is sick. What do?
Go
In and out. Akhi, I'm on this hot. I'm not going in that place. The Salaf used to get their thobes dirty, akhi, in jihad and in the desert. Like that, huh? Yeah, you go in, you get your change, you roll. So this is practical fiqh. Practical real life, and you can't push up on somebody and say, akhi, taqillah, la. This is for an alim to do all of that. This is for you to understand so you can use this in your life. This is the deen of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Huh? Sahih. So this Prophet yani, they use this hadith of the Prophet to make that example. While many scholars say if it's haram, ala tul khalas, you leave it. Similarly with the issue of janazah, you will find difference of opinion. Do you go if they're kuffar? Do you not go? You're going to witness the haram, or you participating? Is it, daruri, you have no other choice, or you going to make a difference, etc. What time is it now?
55.
Tayyip. We'll go to 8:15 and then we stop. Tayyip. So how many conditions you got so far? 4. Somebody tell me the 4 conditions to this issue, mas'ala. Raise your voice.
Haram provisions can't be haram, like liquor, pork.
No, that's not the first condition is what? Aywa, Muslim. هذا الشرط الأول أن يكون مسلم. Because the hadith of Abu Hurairah is حق المسلم على man. Muslim, right? The right of the Muslim. Although some scholars say this is general, if you are invited, many said the first condition is Muslim. If you accept the invitation from a non-Muslim, then is it wajib? No. You do, you don't. But the Muslim, wajib. And some said whether or not it's walima or not, the Muslim invites you, go. Why? Because of the context of the hadith. So always stay in mind, always stay on the same page with the context. We're talking about the right of the Muslims is 6. We already hit salams. Now we're going, if you are invited, then answer the invitation. And we give you both sides so you can understand that the religion is not hut 2, 3, 4. No, once you look at the text, you understand, you reason, you extract, because you got to use this. Everybody have GPS and phone. You don't just look at the phone and say, wow, I need to go to Market Street. I wish you turn on, unless you got a serial voice over. But, you got to do something even with that. So the deen is like that. And we want to remind the people that we'll give a quiz. Everything you have in your notes will be on the quiz. I will walk you through it, and there will be a certificate of completion for each one of the chapters that we're covering, yani each one of the hadith that we go over in this course, inshallah. Tayyib. So what's the 4 conditions quickly? Muslim, and you can Muslim, to be Muslim. Not from the people of bid'ah wa ahwa. Tayyib. So, Fulan qala Ukkasha mubtada'. I say, akhi, I'm having walima. You don't come. Hakada. So say Ukkasha is an innovator. So I tell you tomorrow walima. You say, akhi, I can't go to your walima. You said in the darsa, your Shaikh. No, we said real live innovation. Prophet's birthday. Crazy party for Shaikh so-and-so who died. We're going to make dua, to him, to ask him to bless us. Clear bid'ah. Huh? Tayyib. The next condition. Huh? MashaAllah, barakallahu feekum. Alhamdulillah, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. You have a kunya, you have a nickname, what? Abdurrahman. Abdullah, barakallahu feek, Abdullah, Zakhmallah khairan. The 4th condition. Aisha, La Abbas, Abdullah. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Alhamdulillah. So we got to split it 50-50. Alhamdulillah. Aisha, Abdullah. Barakallahu fikum. Tayyib. The fourth condition.
It says that your food and drink can't be haram.
Can't be haram. Tayyib. 4A. You got to do what? Aywa. Ayyuhum aqlaq. Which one is the most in A? Halal is the most. Which one is the most in B? Aywa. And do you think the Prophet went without a necessity? No, he went. He was the messenger of Allah. How would it look that they invite the messenger and he don't go? They would say, Muhammad's an evil man. See, look at your messenger. And he was the governor of Medina. Aywa. So you see, it's necessity, dawah, this, that. But you know, you do what you can and then you bounce. You do what you can do. You don't have to partake in that thing. But everybody's situation is different. For example, if someone is weak and the other one is strong, then that person who's weak is not going to take a chance on something that the one who's strong can take a chance on. You get my drift? Nah, tell you. Number 5. We did number 5 yet? Excuse me. Number 5. Huh? You ask a question? Oh. Take. Number 5. أن لا يكون إجابة إسقاط أو فتو إسقاط أو يعني يفوت يعني ما أوجب منه. That answering, this is number 5. 5th condition. That answering that invitation would not put you in a situation where you're going to compromise or to leave off a bigger obligation. Say it again. Condition number 5 to answer an invitation, that invitation that you answer will not put you in a predicament, put you in a situation or a predicament that will make you compromise or lose or not exercise a greater obligation than the obligation of answering that invitation. For example, some people, particularly in the winter time, have a Jummah 12:30. Others might keep their Jummah at 1:15, 1:30. So somebody who has Jummah at 12:15, 12:30, they said, we're inviting you, Shaikh, to lunch. We're inviting you, Umar, to lunch at 1:30. But you're praying Jumu'ah across town where they pray Salatul Jumu'ah. They make the Jumu'ah at 1:15. They're not going to be finished until 10 minutes to 2. In order to make that lunch, you have to miss Jumu'ah. Jumu'ah is an obligation on the male who's in puberty. Answering the invitation of the Muslim is the obligation if you can. So which one do you do? Jumu'ah. Aywa. La yakun al-ijaba. La yakun ijaba. That the answering will not cause you to leave off or to drop the responsibility of something that has greater precedence and obligation than the invitation itself.
That's the same. That's
That's
the same one.
That's fine. I just repeated it.
Okay.
To make sure you got it.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
لا يكون إسقاط ما أشد في ما هو أوجب من ذلك. نعم. Another, you have to go to work. Brother said, come on, let's, have some tea. I didn't see you in a long time. This is the invitation. Ta'awun al-birr wa taqwa, to work together on piety and righteousness. Innama al-mu'minun ikhwa, brother and sisterhood, fraternity in the deen. But you can't risk being late for work to have a cup of tea, right? Or you guys risk, I don't know, some brothers, they shake it when they come to working. Allah Mustan. My wife work out, we'll be all right. Allah Mustan. You have a job, that's an obligation, right? You have an amana, right? You have a trust. Rasulullah said, Yadul ulya, yani mada, the hand, yani, that's superior is the hand, yani, the gifts. Yeah, the upper hand. Yadul ulya is superior. Naam. The next one, number 6, أن لا يكون لمجيب مشقة أو أسفر بعيد, that it must not be a difficulty for the person to answer that invitation, or something that requires him or her or them to go very far just to answer. Because remember, there's a rule in the deen of Allah, the Sharia, that the deen, Allah sent it to remove difficulty. So why would you put yourself in a difficulty? Like the man was standing and we're traveling, and the Prophet seen the people crowding around somebody that went. They were crowding around, the man was passed out. The Prophet said, Ma balahu, what happened to him? So he was just fasting and standing in the sun, standing in the sun, standing in the sun, standing in the sun until he passed out. The Prophet said, Laysa bir ala mashaqqa, kama qala. Said, it's not righteousness that you put yourself in harm's way. It don't make you more pious because you stand in the sun, 105 degrees, you talking about, mashallah, I got iman, akh. People sitting in the AC, you standing outside. Sweating, hot, dizzy, dehydrated. Allah mustaan, for what? So, the 6th one, that you don't answer something that's a difficulty, something that's too far for you to go. You got a half a tank of gas, it take a tank and a half to go and come back. You're going to try and make it? 37 cents worth of regular in your tank, what are you going to do? So this is real. You have to use your aql. You have to say your common sense. And they said, darara, any harm. Any harm. Now, tell you. The next part of the hadith, remember the 6, he writes, Prophet said, وَإِذَا اسْتَنْصَحَكَ فَانْصَحْهُ. And then we'll stop here. The last 2 is going to be, last 3 is the sneezing, the sick, and the burial. And we'll save those for the next class. If he seeks nasihah from you, then give him nasihah. Remember, this is the same hadith. إذا ماذا إذا استنصحك فانصحه. نعم. What is nasihah? Somebody give me a time check. 8:08. Okay. We'll stop at 8:15. What is nasihah? That sounds good. What is nasihah? I said. Huh? Y'all being real political. Now, when you upset and you want to give somebody nasihah, don't be no advice. Huh? Sincere advice. So if I make you mad, tomorrow you want to tell me off because you thought about it, I was out of line, you're going to deal with me and you don't care who's around. I'm going to tell him to his face. That's considered nasiha? Somebody said yes?
No. They said no.
No. Now who are nasiha? What is nasiha? They said that you give your brother or your sister when they ask you for a helping hand with something, give them what you would give to yourself. I got a problem. I'm trying to go somewhere. I don't have a way. I'm going through a difficulty in my life. Me and my uncle are not speaking. I'm on the verge of losing my marriage. My wife wants a divorce because I'm not giving her her rights. Can you help me solve this problem? What you would do if you were in those people's shoes of good, what you would want them to tell you, that's what's nasiha. As they say, do unto others as you. Aywa. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه. None from amongst you love, none from amongst you believe until he wants for his brother. Aywa, what he want for himself. And I know that's hard when it's a bag of money, right, y'all? I'm going to look for another hadith for that one, right? Sahih, Hasan, Da'if, Mawdu'a, y'all don't care. We need another text. Hibbu mal jam'ah. We love to gather wealth. However, this is the issue of nasiha. Put yourself in the frame of mind. Think about it. Somebody comes to you and they got a problem. And they make you really feel it when they tell you the problem. Makes you feel upset when you listen to them. You feel, man, you got done like that? You feel like, man, if I was you, I wouldn't tolerate that. You got all that in your chest. But guess what? If it was you, you may be more diplomatical. You may think about it. You may try to reason because it's your situation you're dealing with, not somebody else's. So when you're giving someone nasiha, the first thing the Prophet said, if he seeks advice, you give it to him. What's the opposite if he seeks advice? Turn that sentence around the other way. If he seeks advice, what's the opposite of that? If he doesn't what? So some people understand from this hadith, if he seeks advice, give it to him. But what about if he don't seek it? Don't give it to him. And that's the, as they say, dhahir an-nas. This is what you see. Because we understand opposites in the religion. If Allah says, Inna Allaha yuhibbu muhsinin, Allah loves those who strive to the top for the religion, then that means the opposite. Those who lazy with the religion don't strive, Allah don't love them. Allah don't like them to do that. Hakadha. So opposites are to be assumed. However, Imam al-Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said whether they seek nasiha from you or not, give it to him. He said, and that's because Sallam said in the other hadith, ad-din nasiha. It's from the religion. He says, is there anybody who thinks the Prophet said, al-hajj Arafat, that all he has to do is go on Arafat and that's it? He made the hajj. He didn't do no tawaf around the Kaaba, no sa'i between the Marwa wa Safa. Safa wa Marwa. He didn't pray 2 rak'ah behind Maqam Ibrahim. He didn't go Muzdalifah, Mina, nothing. All he did was stayed in the hotel to Yom al-Arafat. Got out the hotel, got a ride to Arafat, got there and said, Khalas, I made my Hajj. Sahih? That's right? So how can you say the only thing in the religion is if he seeks nasiha, you give it to him? La. Ad-din nasiha. Naam, din nasiha. So any type of good is nasiha. Nus, giving a good word, a good advice, a good solution, yani, defending something. That's what the Prophet he mentioned, yani lillahi. How do you give a nasiha to Allah? If the only way we understand that is you tell somebody how to solve something. Can you do that to Allah? Can you go up to the, have it say, Allah, you know what you should do is, because I'm down here on earth, can you do that? لا يمكن هكذا, right? إن الله عز وجل علي خبير. Allah Azza wa Jal is above us. He knows all. He's aware. So to give nasiha when it comes to Allah, to believe in Allah, to obey Allah, to learn His names and attributes, call on Him by them, to fear Allah in secret. When you do something wrong, repent right away. Try to perfect your character. Leave off jahiliyyah, profanity, rudeness. Hakada. Any right that Allah told you to do pertaining to Him and the servant, do it. That's nasiha lillah. Wali kitabihi, to His book, the Quran. Tu'min bi kitabillah, wa taqra kitabillah, as kitabillah, to believe in Allah's book, to read Allah's book. Yani ijlis fi majalis al-dhikr, sit in the circles of knowledge where the Quran is being mentioned. Yani wa min bab awla an tusalli biha. Yani moreover, pray with the Quran. Wallahi, some people have been Muslim a long time, they don't have no Quran. 1 surah, 2 surah, 2.5. Allah musta'an. So this, when you talk about nasiha, have different meanings. Here, the Prophet ﷺ said, وَإِذَا اسْتَنْصَحَكَ فَانْصَحُوا. Give him nasiha when he asks, when she asks, when they ask. Give them something of good. وَمَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا لِيَصْمُتْ. Whoever believes in Allah on the last day, let them say good and be quiet. Sometimes people tell you something real greasy, real horrible, treacherous, and they said, I was given nasiha. Kadab. Allah, this is a lie. You know you're going to break the family up. You know you're going to make a problem with the 2 sisters. You know that brother is going to punch the other brother in the mouth. Punch him in the face. Kayf yakun nasiha? How is that nasiha? So nasiha, something that's tayyibah, something that's practical, something you put yourself in that person's shoes. You give them something that you yourself would want somebody to give you to ease your pain, to make a way out, to bring you from dhulumat ila nur, from that which is darkness to the light. And even if they don't ask, if you see some need to give advice, to help out, then there's no problem. As the Prophet ﷺ said, ad-din al-nasiha. Wallahu musta'an. هذا وصلى الله وسلم بارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Any questions?
No.
What time is it? Faddali.
Yes. If you can, I want to go back about the walima.
Yes.
Now, but the labikun, I want to speak, inshallah, about the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha,
Aywa.
about the invitation to a walima that she was invited to of the Ansar.
Aywa.
And Rasulullah alayhi salam approached the walima, and there was no entertainment. And he questioned Aisha anha about the entertainment. Why didn't she entertain them with their customs? I guess it was the instruments or something like that that we may look at as music.
Yes.
Right. Now, is that something?
Well, this hadith in the Sahih of what? Where did it come from? Bukhari, Muslim, Abi Dawood.
I don't remember. Or even different things.
Tayyib, barakallah fi.
Remember that, the story of that walima.
Barakallah fiqh. Inshallah, if you'll find it, and I'm going to do my research. Wallahi, the one who he or she teaches, sometimes things slip us. We don't know everything. Wallahi, sometimes Shaykh Muqbil rahimahullah, it was the imam of the sunnah of our time in Yemen. Sometimes the Shaykh, he was the most knowledgeable. People would get up and say, yeah, Abu Abdul Rahman. That was his nickname, Abu Abdul Rahman. He'd say, Naam. They would stand up, and they might sometimes have the book, mention some stuff, add some stuff, maybe sometimes say something different from the Shaykh, and the Shaykh will say, La basin bihada, jazakum Allahu khairah. They say, no problem, Allah bless you. That's it. This is the knowledge. Maybe she knows something I don't know. Maybe she remind me of another position. Maybe she brings something. I was wrong, she's right. This is the knowledge. You see, so this a thing, a benefit I want to give the people, because we learn something different in America. If someone says something or brings something, it's a slight. No, it's not a slight. Alhamdulillah. As for the hadith, I have to check to see where is the hadith, because we know that the Prophet said, وَمَنْ كَذِبَ عَلَيَّ مُتَعَمِّدًا فَلْيَتَبَوَّأْ مَقْعَدَهُ مِنَ النَّارِ. Whoever lies on me intentionally, he will have a seat in the fire. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو أحد الكاذبين. The one who made it up and the one who transmitted it without checking, he's one of the two liars. So I don't want to say this is authentic hadith. It doesn't ring a bell, but what it comes to mind is that when the Aisha was young and Abyssinians were dancing on the day of Eid. And many people, wallah musta'an, people like to go to the club and do the electric slide and the smurf and the boogaloo. They try to use this hadith from Sahih Muslim. How can we do this? Not saying you, but wallah, I know some brothers, they go to clubs, they flick up and they be on the Facebook, I heard, and they use this hadith. Say, no man, we can music and dance, and they bring this hadith of the Abyssinians. Well, this Prophet Sallam was talking about people doing the tribal dance that has to do with warfare, and Prophet Sallam with kulli qawmin eidahum, every people that have their Eid. If that was haram, no, for sure the Prophet would not have told Aisha to watch it, let alone to praise it. So if there's something like that, then no problem. But we're talking about musical instruments. We're talking about song and dance. We talk about, in our society, we know what music is. Stuff that has lyrics. You listen to that and it may be in your mind for 2-3 weeks, a month, 6 months. A'udhu billah. Somebody singing about baby, this, that. He's not talking about his wife. He's talking about some romance. Another person talking about killing the cops and doing drugs, and somebody else talking about a love story and they were going to commit suicide. Kullu hadha la yajuz. All this is impermissible. When kana bismi yani Islami, if it's considered what they say Islamic, then we say to them, hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqeen. Let them bring their proof if they're truthful, because if it was any Islamic song and dance, who knew the Prophet best? Us or the companions? The companions. You knew the Prophet better than the companions? You think somebody here know the Prophet better than the companions? Some great scholar or Shaikh or his tribe? No. And they didn't do it. Prophet died and they took the Islam to the world. Them and their children, Wallahu Akbar Kabiran. Hatta yasir ha huna fi America. Until it reach here in America. We don't have any hadith, hatta hadith and da'if. Even hadith is da'if that the companions did something like this. And what's strange, in conclusion, we have people like Imam al-Ghazali or Yusuf Qaradawi, and they were big scholars in their rights. Lakin al-haq azizan fawqa alayna jami'an. But the haq is above all of us. You have Imam al-Ghazali or Imam Yusuf Qaradawi and others, and they will say Islam allows musical instruments, song and dance. They bring all hadith al-da'if, jiddan, fabricated, lies, munkar and hadith rejected, and they bypass all hadith that are authentic in the Sahih Bukhari, the Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abi Dawood. Allah musta'an. قد رد عليهم يعني إمام الألباني وكذلك قبله ابن قيم الجوزية وأمثالهم. And many of the scholars, they wrote about this to refute this, because wallahi, tallahi, billahi, we don't have any Islamic music, song and dance. Ila yawm al-qiyamah, to the day of judgment. So I'm going to check personally this subject matter.
Can I make your mission easier?
تفضل يا شيخ. الله يفضل. أنا يعني أفضله.
If you allow me.
تفضل.
Yeah, the hadith that the sister just mentioned is
أيوة.
authentic. And if I'm not mistaken, Shaykh al-Albani had mentioned it in his book, Adab al-Zifaf.
طيب.
But هل أرسلتم معها هل معكم شيء من الله؟ ولكن نفهم هذا بالحديث الأخرى أن الغناء شيء والموسيقى
شيء آخر.
is something and singing is something.
آخر.
So
أيوة.
the Prophet said, and also playing the dove.
Ah,
Playing
صح
the dove is something,
صح
and music is something totally different.
صح.
So as for the occasion the sister just mentioned, is authentic, is acceptable, and is no any dust on it, like you say, and لا غبار عليها.
Ah,
But we have to understand it with the other statements and practice of the Sahaba, that is not a musical instrument. The
Ah.
only musical instruments is allowable is the dove, and only in the Eid.
ah,
Okay? And a special occasion, like when the Prophet came back from his battle.
ah.
So the hadith is authentic, and this Prophet was talking about they singing for her, the
That's
little
what.
girl singing, and singing is something totally different from musical instruments.
Yes.
Wallahu a'lam.
بارك الله فيك. أحسن
Make
الله
it a
عليك.
little bit easier.
جزاكم الله خير. أحسنت يا شيخ. هذا بارك الله فيك. هذا يعني فرق بين يعني الذي يعني يتعاون في علم ويتعاون في جهل. This is the difference between fighting an argument and working with knowledge. So yes, the Shaykh can remind me. Now I see the page, the Zifa, Shaykh al-Albani book on marriage, and he mentioned a lot of good issues, the ring and put on the finger and these different hadith in there. The Shaykh is right. I didn't read this for maybe like 15 years, but I remember as the Shaykh mentioned the page. Yes, so like Shaykh said, this authentic. Sakmallah khairan. But the important thing, context. Don't mix up the translation, song and music and singing. No, singing one thing with the voice, music with instruments. Instruments totally haram. And the song could be based on who's singing, why.